Hope you've got some punch in your beverage today, because Sip with Sam is all about how we're pushing back against the Trump administration's illegal and often unconstitutional conduct over the last couple of weeks. We've been getting hundreds of calls about this, about all the many executive orders. Let me tell you what we're doing. You often only see the duck and you don't see the feet swimming underneath the surface. There's a lot of feet pushing pretty hard right now. We've got a lot of partners, for example, in litigation with Democracy Forward and a lot of nonprofits that are pushing lots of lawsuits. We're working obviously on legislation, and with lots of partners, we're working on instigation too. You're starting to see a lot of protests, particularly here in DC and throughout the country. So here's how we're pushing back. Given the fact that as Democrats, we have only a minority of votes in the House and Senate, we don't control the legislative process. We can't even call hearings with very narrow exceptions. So we've got to be strategic. What have we been doing? The day that Trump took office, he declared an end to birthright citizenship, which of course is unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court has said so since 1896. We have been working with partners. We had 2 federal courts issue injunctions declaring his action unconstitutional. We've stopped him there. Secondly, you saw the Office of Management and Budget disrupted a lot of the country with its decision last Wednesday, basically cut off all payments for everything from Head Start and Medicaid to COPS grants that cities need for police officers and firefighters, and the SAFER grants. All these money was left uncertain, a lot of concern. Well, we work with a lot of folks out there in the community. You probably saw a few of us. So Lofgren and I and Rokana had a media event. We had these events all throughout the country, of course, for 48 hours. That memo was rescinded. We've now had 2 courts declare that act illegal and stop it as well. So Trump has failed again. Similarly, you heard a lot of drama over tariffs. That's the word that President Trump loves, is tariffs. The only problem is this plan for 25% tariffs against Mexico and Canada would cost the average American family about $1,200 and higher costs for things like groceries. We all thought it was a terrible idea, and we said so. And sure enough, the day it was to be imposed, the market tanked that morning. We had colleagues here at the House of Representatives call a point of order, which would have forced every Republican in the House and Senate to actually vote on the tariffs. Guess what? They didn't like that idea. Didn't get reported in the media, but we know we had them in a corner because we knew that everybody would be pointing at them as soon as they saw the cost of groceries rise. Sure enough, the OMB memo was rescinded. The tariffs, were rescinded by Trump only hours later, claiming he had all kinds of victories. In fact, you look at the reality, Canada didn't give him any concessions they hadn't already promised him. There was another failure by Trump. And more recently, obviously, we've heard a lot of concern about what Elon Musk is doing in the Treasury payment system, grabbing access to Social Security numbers and a lot of private information for tens, if not hundreds of millions of Americans who depend on payments of some kind, Social Security, veterans, whatever it might be, through the Treasury. I have just, with several of my colleagues, publicly demanded from the Secretary of Treasury that he halt that. We've got actions going in several courts right now. Four actions have been filed. We're going to stop him there as well. We know it's illegal. He knows it's illegal, and we're going to stop him. Look, I'd like to be working on more constructive things. I want to do what we can to actually reduce the cost of living for a lot of families. I want to do what we can to address our housing crisis, address crime, lots of other things. We can't get there as long as all we're doing is spinning around dealing with these emergency orders. We're going to keep fighting them until we can start getting to a place to actually do something productive for the people of this country. Thanks for joining us. We'll be giving you more information about some of the things we're doing in the days ahead.